So I know who I am, but because, well, what kind of person doesn't? But I often struggle with finding what I am, like what I'm good at and what my talents are. But I think I finally figured it out. So I went to college for computer programming. Um, but I only got an associate's degree because halfway through the program, I kind of realized I hated it. Um, and during my freshman year, one of the things that I did uh, for one of the classes that I took, it was Intro to Game Design. For my final project, I had to write a game design document. And I loved it. It was in that moment when I realized that's what I want to do with my life. This is what I want as my career. I mean, they said, like, for the project, it said it had to be, like, a maximum of 10 pages. It was a 3-person project, and my contribution alone was 10 pages. Actually, I think it was like 12. Whew. That was a less than smooth boss fight. Anyway, um, so game design is kind of where my passion really lies, but along the way, I kind of realized it's not just game design. Because I don't just like video games. It's my favorite type of medium, yes, and it's what I prefer, of course, but I like movies, I like books, I kind of realize, and all my favorite games are games, well, most of them anyway, not all of them, are games that have really good stories. So I kind of realized that at my core, what I really like is stories. That's what I like most. And although, again, video games are my favorite form to obtain those stories, my preferred medium, that's what I really like, because when I look back on a game that I really liked, I, of course, remember the gameplay, but what I remember sticks with me the most is the characters and how much the story affected me. And I also kind of realized that there are stories that you really can't tell with video games. For example, I love Xenoblade 2 to death. I'm sorry I keep pausing during this, but I'm just kind of like trying to listen to the. I'm doing this like in the middle of a raid, so I'm kind of like listening to the instructions while I'm doing it. I am also like sweating a little because I'm pretty sure I muted my mic, and they're not saying anything. But it's like, what if they can hear me, even though like I know they can't? Um, I mean, I checked, my mic is muted, um, on Discord. So anyway, you know, I love Xenoblade 2. It's one of my favorite games, but that game has a lot of instances where you win in the boss fight, but you lose in the cutscene. And of course, you know, Xenoblade 2 being proof of it, you can tell that kind of story in a video game. But of course, you know, winning in the boss fight and losing in the cutscene, it gets a lot of criticism for that, and it's not hard to see why, because it's kind of like, huh? So it's kind of hard to tell a story where the main characters lose, because it's like, imagine this, okay, you're cornered, right? Dude's got an axe. You know, you're cornered. You hit a dead end in like the forest that you're running away from him. And you feel the tension of like, you know, the main character, how is he gonna get out of this? But in a video game, it would just be like, okay, now you fight him. So I kind of realized that the first thing I do when I think of like a new idea for a game is that first I think about like what the premise is for the story. And I go, okay, well, who are the characters? And then I figure out what the gameplay is in that order. So I kind of realized that while I do have a passion for game design, my what I really have a passion is I would say writing, but it's not really writing because I don't like the actual process of writing. That's just kind of like a means to an end. I realized, as pretentious as this sounds, at my core, I am a storyteller. I like to tell stories. And I know that sounds horribly pretentious, but I can't think of a better way to say that. So, yeah, that just kind of made me. I realized that that is where my talents lie. Of course, the most important thing for a video game is the gameplay, because that's like what you're actually doing. But damn, man, does a good story go a long way. And some stories can't be told in video games. And I would like to do it all. if there's a story that I don't think could be told well in a video game, or as it would be better in like some other form, then I would like to be able to tell that story in that form. So while I am pursuing a career in video games, ultimately I want to pursue a career in writing, establish myself as a good enough writer to work in movies, work in cartoons, work in maybe even write a book. So yeah, I think that's where my true talents lie. Some people are artists, some people are animators, some people are programmers. Me, I guess I'm a writer.